All right, everyone. Well, hello and welcome back to the Petal Talk podcast. My name is Allison, your host. And today I have on a near and dear friend. We have Miss Courtney on today.
Hello. I'm so happy to be here.
We're so happy that you're here.
Yes.
Tell us just a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit how we know each other, what you do, and then we'll kind of get started. Give us a little overview.
Yeah, so my name is Courtney. I'm born and raised in Florida, and I met you through the Rose, starting off at the Rose this year. And I've been an esthetician for 8 years. That's been kind of my, journey into the industry, starting with the esthetician license at a medical spa, and I just absolutely love it, and I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, we're so happy to have you here. Hi, welcome to Petal Talk, where skincare meets soul care. Courtney she's a newer addition earlier this year to our team, and you've been an excellent addition to our team. And we have always talked about, even from the beginning, from your interviews, that we have to get you on just because you have so much knowledge and expertise. And one thing that I love is that you've been licensed for a long time, like me, just because, there's a lot that has happened over the last almost 10 years in the beauty industry. Yeah. It's interesting and we can touch on that a little bit as well. We'll get into all sorts of the details, but how different the industry was when you and I went to school compared to now. It's so different, specifically in skin. Yeah. And not everyone can relate because, a lot of the girls on our team haven't been licensed for, that long, which is totally fine. Right. But they don't know what it was like before it was cool.
Yes. No, it's changed so much.
Because it was a grind. Yeah, absolutely. Well, okay. Let's reel it all back. Yeah. I want to go from the very beginning. Yeah. I always kind of touch on, I feel like everyone like us has a story of when they were little, they were playing with their Barbies, they were playing with their mom's makeup or whatever, fill in the blank. What does that moment look like for you? How old were you when you started getting into this? Have you always been a girly girl? What did little you kind of look like?
So I actually was like a super tomboy. I used to skateboard. I used to... you could not put me in a dress. My mom would have to fight me to get me in a dress. So I definitely was not into like the Barbies when I was a child. I definitely liked that rough outside. I liked playing outside, jumping on the trampoline. But I think what brought me into the girlier side of myself was cheerleading. I was a cheerleader since I was 5. And I did competitive cheerleading first. So that was like the first makeup that I would have to put on. I'd have to put on like the red glittery lip. It's for stage. So it's not for to like actually look good. Hot blue, eyeshadow. So that was when I started to first get into makeup, get a little bit more girly. And then honestly, like 7th grade. 7th grade was when I really started to care about my appearance, caring if I had makeup on, and YouTube. YouTube was the beginning of all the makeup craze. Right. And that is what literally taught me how to do makeup was YouTube, watching tutorials. And then it kind of blossomed, in high school, I would do my girlfriend's makeup. If they would come over, I would just be like, hey, can I do your makeup for fun?
You really started with makeup?
Yeah, I started with makeup. Yeah, definitely. Didn't even start into skincare until like getting into esthetician school, which I have a funny story about that as well. Yeah. But no, it was makeup. And then honestly, my first job was daycare teacher. I did like VPK and I loved that. We did like after school programs. So during like summer and after school during high school, that's what I did. And I thought I was going to be a teacher. I did not think I was going to pursue anything with makeup, even though that was something on the side. Thought I was going to be a teacher. So I went to FAU, Florida Atlantic University, after high school. Was pursuing the teacher degree, but it wasn't my passion. I was not so big into academics. I wasn't a straight A student. I wish I was, but studying was hard for me. Taking tests was hard for me. And so during college, I also pursued makeup again. I kind of dabbled into that again with the girls in their sororities for their events. I would, in my dorm room, I would do their makeup. And not charge them, of course, but I would just practice that way.
And it's fun.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And so that was kind of like my stress-free way of just having fun with that. And college was great. I actually had a really good experience with college. I had a good experience with my roommates. I mean, I really had a good time. But something shifted in me. I wanted more independence.
You finished college?
I finished with like a year and a half.
Okay.
Yeah, year and a half I was there. I switched to online. So when I left Boca Raton, I was looking for that independence. I really had a great time with my roommates, but I wanted to live alone. I wanted to just kind of start
your life.
Yeah. And, but Boca Raton was very expensive. It's near Miami. Yeah. It's really hard to kind of live on your own and do the thing. I was working at Bath and Body Works at the time, selling like fragrances and getting you the right perfume or candle scent that you needed.
Sweet pea, warm vanilla sugar.
Yes, exactly. And so that, was fine, but it wasn't, of course, what I was going to do. So I left. I went back home. I had no idea what I was going to do. I switched to online just so I could kind of have some guidance and doing something. I didn't want to not be doing anything. And I was just seriously going in and out of anything. I mean, I was applying at restaurant jobs. I was applying at like makeup boutiques or hairdressers, saying if they had a chair even for makeup. And for like 2 weeks, it felt like the longest time in my life because nothing was really opening for me. And I was just like, what am I going to do? What am I going to, teaching, I was still kind of pursuing, but it wasn't necessarily my passion, even though I loved working with kids and doing that. But I just didn't know. So one crazy night, I was with my dad, and we were going to the Hard Rock. He loves the Hard Rock in Tampa. So we were going to Hard Rock for dinner. It was my grandparents' birthday. And I'm there. He didn't forewarn me about any other visitors coming, but there was this beautiful woman that came and surprised us, and I had no idea who she was. And she just joined our dinner. We're all having dinner. It was kind of quiet. She was just a friend of his from the Hard Rock as well. But in my head, I'm like, who is this woman? I'm like, is this his girlfriend? I'm like, who is she?
Thinking.
I'm like, who is she? He didn't fill me in on anything. We ended up talking. She's kind of staring at me. I'm staring at her. And she starts off with like, you have great skin. I'm like, thanks, And she's like, what do you do? And I said, well, I just left, FAU, and I'm down here and I'm looking for something. And she offered me a job. She's like, well, why don't you, I have a medical spa. It's in Orlando. At the time, I was still in Tampa. And she's like, I need a front desk. I actually need a front desk. So why don't you come and work for me? And I literally took it. And I said, yeah, I will definitely do that. And literally the next day, I was commuting from Tampa to Orlando.
Oh my gosh.
Did the interview, got the job. Ended up living with her because I didn't want to commute. And she offered, she was the biggest blessing for me during that time because she and her husband were like, if you don't have a place to stay, you can stay with us. They had a separate area of their home. And I did that for like 4 weeks. And I saved enough money. I worked the front desk. And at that time, I was just working the front desk. So we didn't even talk about esthetician schooling or anything like that yet. And I was really content with that. I was really happy with it. And I felt like it was direction for me. That was my big girl job at the time.
How old were you at this time?
I was 18. Okay. 18 going on 19.
Okay.
And this was 2016 because I went to college 2015. I was there for like a year. I was there fully for like a year and a half before I officially just
Don't
stopped.
you feel like it's so unfair, all the pressure that's put on 17, 18, 19-year-olds to figure out what they want to do forever?
For sure. Yeah. And I struggled in high school. I liked high school and I liked learning, but again, I couldn't apply myself to the test. Like I would do my homework, I would do the work, but the tests were hard for me.
You also just like don't care.
Yeah, exactly. No, I didn't. And math was hard for me. Math was super hard. And I felt like I didn't have the study skills that I needed, to be able to be successful. And I learned that through college. College helped me with that. College was actually the first time I made A's and B's, believe it or not. Like I actually took that seriously.
Yeah.
But it was still like, okay, I'm in college, I'm doing the right thing, but where is this going to lead me to? I like teaching. I can definitely do that. But really just me wanting to have my independence was really kind of what got me out of that. And it's just so funny because you think that you have a plan and it's just like if something opens up that was not a part of your plan at all, ends up being like the best thing to happen to you.
No, it happens
even
all
if it
the
doesn't
time.
Make sense.
Yeah.
And my family it was something that when I got that offer, I didn't second guess it. I was like, okay, at first I'm like, who is this woman? But once we started talking, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take up that offer. And it just totally just blossomed my life. And
I always say if it's not like a hell yes,
right,
and it's a hell no,
right,
and there is something to this like all-encompassing full body yes, that you just know.
For sure.
Right? And if it's not, then you're wasting your time.
Right.
You're wasting your money. You're wasting your energy on something that you actually don't care about.
Right. Yeah.
Why do that to yourself?
Right. No. You work more than you are at home.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We see each other more than we see any of our husbands and whatever.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if you're miserable,
right,
you're going to live a miserable life.
Right. And so that was something that I refused to do. And, I wanted something that I could make a difference. And teaching, I did think that I could make a difference. I still have a love for that.
As a teacher.
Everybody always still says that. I love children. I can't wait to be a mom.
So, you're so like Miss Honey vibes.
Thank you.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like so warm.
Oh. Yeah,
I don't know if I could be a teacher, but it is. Well, I could teach adults. I just can't teach like
you
children.
Teach us a lot.
Yeah, right.
You guide us.
Would you ever go back to teaching? Is that something you'd ever care to do?
I think teaching in probably different ways.
Sure.
Maybe teaching in this industry. Yeah. Because estheticians, from school, you think that you're going to leave with so much confidence, and really,
okay. So go back to that. So you're there at the front desk for a little bit, and then you do decide to go to school.
Correct. So she was pretty much just took me under her wing. I mean, all of this I kind of owe it to this woman, because she is what kind of introduced me to all of this. But working the front desk, she had one location. So this business and this company actually blossomed. I mean, they started from one location to almost 20. So throughout the 8 years, they grew a lot. Yeah, and they're great at what they do. And so, I started there. I started at one location, and they only had, it was like 5 employees. I mean, it was small. It was family owned, so it was like husband and wife running the thing. And there was an esthetician there, and of course I'm learning. I'm learning a lot while I'm there, and it was more Botox and fillers. It was a medical spa, so we did a lot of medical grade, skincare lines, Skin Medica, Obagi. We started with Obagi first. So I felt like that gave me the upper notch in the industry before I went to school, because I was already learning without me even thinking of doing it.
There's something to be said about the real on-the-job training.
Oh, for sure.
Is way more beneficial. I mean, 1000%. Beauty school teaches you how to get your license, and that's pretty much it.
I think it's both important, but I think hands-on, of course, is going to be at the end of the day the deal breaker.
Yeah, right. You need to learn sanitation, and you need to learn like the laws, obviously, in school, and those are things that you might not learn totally working. But there is something so
definitely
important about
handling with clients,
understanding really what it's like boots on the ground. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. So the conversation started. She just asked me if I wanted to be an esthetician, which when she asked me,
what is that?
Yeah. And when she asked me, I almost felt like silly for not ever thinking about esthetician school. And if I had thought about esthetician school, maybe when I was 16 or 17,
but it wasn't cool back then.
No,
how are we supposed to know?
It was I feel like it was such a smaller community.
Yeah,
and
I was the same way. I didn't even know what it was until a month before I went.
No, I was on YouTube. I mean, makeup was what was really just growing. That was the thing. I feel like in the 2010s through the 2020s. I mean, that was definitely makeup.
That's all people cared about.
Yeah,
and in our time frame, 2013, 14, 15, 2012, that's all people talked about. It was the big lashes and the liquid lipsticks and the highlighting kits. Yes, MAC Clinique, like Urban Decay. That's all people cared about. Skincare, it was like you wear all this makeup and you use a Neutrogena wipe to take it off, and that's it.
Hide your acne. Put stuff on top.
Like Kat Von D tattoo locket foundation, the powder.
I used to be obsessed with that makeup too.
I know, me too,
because it was the thickest. Yes, and it was the most coverage.
Yes, and it was like a literal painting
for sure.
And we were killing it. Yeah. Okay, we were using loose pigments. We were using glitters. Like it was cool.
Oh yeah.
I look at photos of myself from that and I'm like, you look like an idiot.
I literally burn them all. I had the thinnest brows, and luckily my mom.
I had the exact opposite girlfriend.
My mom forewarned me. She's like, don't pluck your eyebrows that thin. Yeah. I was like refusing. I'm like, no, I'm going to pluck my eyebrows this thin.
We should swap some pics later and show each other, because seriously, I was so embarrassed.
My friend sent me one last night. I'm like, how lovely. Gosh, you cannot even see my eyebrows. Yeah. I'm like, great times.
Mine's the opposite. Mine was like the dip brow. You think my eyebrows are big now? This is like with nothing. I don't have them filled in. This is just what they look like.
And I love your
They were
brows.
doubled. They were huge, and they were thick and inky. And
well, at least you didn't pluck them thin. I mean,
no, I never.
That's
no.
nice.
But they were like insane. But yeah, anyway, we can talk about how crazy
Anyways,
we are later. Yeah. Okay, so at this time, you're like, what is skincare? What is esthetician school?
Yeah.
Where do you go? What does that look like for you?
I really didn't. I feel like I have definitely a different experience than maybe most, because I didn't like walk through any schools. I didn't filter out any schools I didn't want to go to. I just, she offered me a school, and I said, absolutely, like, I'll do that. And I was still living with her. So I felt like that time during my life was like boot camp. That was my boot camp. I was working almost like 60 hours a week doing the front desk, would do my schooling, would go home to her house, and I didn't want to be
like disrespectful.
Yeah, and I didn't want to bother her house and her family. So I would literally go in my room. I was still at FAU online, so doing that online. And then when it hit Friday, I would go back to Tampa and just like spend my time with my family. Yeah. So that was a crazy, intense time, but it almost worked out so perfectly. And school was fine. I mean, I learned so much. It was almost like double school, because I learned so much hands-on too, and I was practicing.
It was like school and an apprenticeship.
For sure.
Yeah.
And she was actually a trainer herself, so she even taught me so much. I mean, she has so much knowledge in the industry, so many years on her belt. So she helped me and transformed me into the esthetician that I am today. I mean, I truly owe it to her to opening that door for me. I'm so just blessed for that to happen. had a great time. And so
did you like school?
I did. Yeah. Okay. It was fine. It was the first time where I felt like I'm doing something that I know is going to benefit me, and I see the vision. Like I see, and I already had a place where I was at. So I think that kind of gave me that confidence too.
Do you feel like you did better in beauty school because you did have a job outside of there and you were just like aware of things that maybe the other girls didn't know?
I definitely do. I think that was just, again, just like the biggest blessing for me to be in that predicament. Did you end up having my guidance, for her guiding me?
Did you end up doing well in beauty school comparatively to like college or high school?
Yeah. And I think, again, so college, I kind of, I got the reins on like studying, and I really took that seriously. I mean, you're paying for college, so you can't mess around. Right. So you learn that quickly. So I felt like because of that, and again, kind of going into the adult world, it's not high school anymore. This is what I'm going to do for my future. I was single at the time, and I was doing the damn thing by myself. All my family's in Tampa, and I had their emotional support, but not financial support. So I was doing it on my own, and I wanted to. It worked out the best for me to be able to stay with her because I was able to save that money and then instantly go into my own apartment. So I felt like the whole time. I did the same thing. Yeah.
I never had roommates either, and I never did any of that either because I wanted to just do it. And I was not going back home.
Right.
No, I didn't care what it looked like. I worked 3 jobs, and I was like, this is the only option.
I had so many chances to go back home, and I was just like, I love my hometown, and I love my family, but I was like, it's just not fitting for me. Like just for some reason,
outgrew it.
Yeah, I can't see myself growing there and blossoming there as I'm doing right now.
Right.
So yeah, it was just a whole whirlwind of change. I also did cosmetic tattooing during that time.
Oh yeah.
So I dabbled into that, which I do love, and that's 2 different industries.
Yes.
Cosmetic tattooing reminded me of the makeup. So I love that. I mean, you definitely, with the eyebrows, I mean, cancer patients who are struggling with that. I mean, there's actually some real meaning behind that when you can help somebody with that, saving even older women 30 minutes a day.
Your career mostly like paramedical tattooing? Is that kind of where you were?
It was more cosmetic tattooing. Okay. So it was all the eyebrows, eyeliner, and lip shading. That was the 3 main things that I did. Some women wanted some freckles. I'm like, I'm not going to tattoo some freckles on you. I'm going to save you on this one. It's going to turn blue or purple on you. So let's not do that. But eyebrows, lips, and eyeliner.
So you finished school. And then
was already working.
Was your oyster. So what do you do now? You
get
a
already
promotion?
Working. Yeah. She was good. I mean, so she took it easy with me. I feel like I probably had more training in a sense, and a longer training, because even with tattooing, so tattooing is like a smaller school. It's not, I feel like that will change.
It's like 3 days.
That's going to change probably in 5 years.
What did that look like for you? Was it like a week program? And then like an apprenticeship?
And you just like practice. You have a model and you just practice. You draw. I mean, it's really just practicing your hair strokes. I would say I'm still practicing like hair strokes because that has evolved in itself. The techniques nowadays, it's like every time I look and open up Instagram, I'm like, there's a new and better technique for that. I'm like, great, something else I got to practice. But that's the beauty about this industry, is that it always evolves. There's always, you can never get complacent. If you're complacent, you kind of need, you're out. You need to look at what's evolving, because there is even social media. I mean, 10 years ago, you had YouTube, that was a social media. Now it's all of us has to pick up on our social media game. Shelby knows. Shelb Dog at the Rose Spa. She knows.
I know.
She's my girl.
She's the best.
But and that is a total beast in itself too. So I think the industry has, we don't just wear one hat. I mean, you're kind of forced to wear a couple different hats, whether it's talking to different clients, dealing with different skin types, dealing with just so much social media, marketing yourself,
right,
staying busy.
Right.
It's
So how long are you working the desk until you start seeing guests, or what does that transition look like?
So I was working the front desk probably for maybe 4 or 5 months before I kicked into school and everything. I was still working while in school, so I was still seing clients, and I was kind of, I had the upper hand with that because I was kind of recruiting some clients at the time. I was like,
yourself.
Hey, I was practicing with the consults. Right. We were using Obagi, so I was kind of like, I'm, in esthetician school. I don't have my license yet, but I could, kind of guide you, maybe pick this. So I was already trying to practice that. Did school, and then me working there. She had actually opened up a second location during that time, so then it was a different location. And I was helping with that. I wasn't a manager yet at the time because I worked up with the company too.
Yeah.
But she evolved, and then she kind of gave me the reins on one location. So when she was busy,
okay, what did that conversation look like? She just comes up to you and says,
"She's very quick and fast." Yeah. She's like, "Hey, Courtney, I'm going to be doing this. I need you here." And I'm like, "Okay, that's just how it is with that company." And so that was that. But that gave me so much freedom in a sense. I mean, that company was nice because it's a little rare finding like family like this, right? Like we are like a unit. You want to get along with your coworkers. We're with each other all the time. You don't want to work at some place where they kind of look down on you.
No.
You know, you want them to be able to help you, support you. If they have more wisdom and more experience than you want to be able to go to them openly and have them help you, which she was that exactly. So she gave me that freedom. I started working, having clientele, and it took me about probably a good year to build like a solid clientele. But I felt like I had my people who had my back. I really didn't feel like I had too many struggles in the beginning because I already had a home that I was in and they supported me.
What advice do you have for someone who is in a similar position and starting to build their books? You said it took about a year.
Yeah.
What is some advice that you have for someone in that year grinding it out to help them, or some words of wisdom because it's hard?
Don't worry if you're in like your 4th or 5th month and you're still slow.
Yeah.
Because it does take a year.
It's hard.
I swear it takes a year. Like that is just even me here, right? Sure. So I switched companies, which we'll get to that.
Yeah.
And now I'm here and I'm actually back in my territory, but I'm still having to grow my clientele again. So it doesn't even matter how long you've been in the industry. If you have some sort of change in location, it is going to take you some time to build those connections again. And it's not really about your skills. It's about building connections. It's just about getting yourself out there again. But don't give up. Don't get intimidated by that, because even women who have been in the industry for so long, women and men, everybody faces that. Everybody.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Keep going.
So you are there managing and you're doing not as much
that
skin?
Came years later.
Okay.
So when I started managing, so then it kind of came to where I was just kind of content doing my thing. So she was blossoming, her and her husband, they were opening location after location. And we were primarily Botox and filler. So that was the hub of the industry. But then, of course, skincare goes with Botox and filler.
Absolutely.
So you can't do filler and you've got acne. You got to have both.
Right.
So I was a lead esthetician for 2 locations. So then we had 2 locations. I was lead esthetician, had just the best time. Yeah. I mean, that was when I was really solid with my books. I had a consistent schedule, consistent clientele, created so many connections with people that became family and friends.
You're feeling good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was probably for a good 5-6 years that I did that consistently. And then she got so big that she came to me and said, okay, now I need you to manage, which I felt like I was already kind of having that responsibility. I was in charge of inspections. So if the esthetician inspector came in, state, tattooing is very strict with inspectors.
Very strict.
They will get you with anything. So I was already on board with all that. The biomedical waste was in charge of.
And you're very much a leader. You have very much of a leader personality. Yeah.
And when I did manage, I don't like being anybody's boss. That's definitely not my passion. I am there for you if you need help, but I feel like we all know our roles, and I shouldn't have to ask you to do your part. You should know to do your part, but I am there to help. I mean, if there's no stupid question, there's no, I'm there to help. That's what I think as a manager role should be. I'm not on a high horse with that. So I started, she asked me to manage a location, and I actually denied it at first. I was like, no thanks. I don't want to do that. Because it would take away from my clientele. I worked so hard, and my passion is truly being in the treatment room. And I was just like, no, I don't think I want to do that. And I went home to my husband, and he's like, you're so silly. Why would you not want to do that? And we were actually moving to where we bought our first house, and it was in the same area of this new location. And I was just going to commute. I was like, no, I'm not going to say bye to my 5 years of building, because it takes a long time.
Right. That's a big thing to say goodbye to.
And I had a good thing going. And I was like,
and more than anything, you're comfortable.
Right.
You're in your comfort zone.
I'm not complacent.
You're doing your thing.
But I'm comfortable.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to really nurture where I was at. I was like, no, I could still build even more.
Right.
But, after consideration,
other plans.
So I started managing, which was fine. I mean, it was great. I felt like it was already something that I was doing. But of course, more responsibilities. You've got payroll, you've got inventory. You got to make sure your people are happy. Make sure everything runs smoothly. That's how I felt like my role was. It's I just have to make sure everything runs smoothly so these owners don't have to worry or stress about anything.
Yes.
Which I felt was good. I had a really small location. I only had 2 people that worked at my location. It was an injector and front desk. And me. And so I was also managing an esthetician and doing cosmetic tattooing.
Yeah.
So I had a lot that was going on.
Yeah.
But it was fine. But it got to a point where I was kind of what am I, what is my passion?
Right.
climbed up the ladder. You know, I started at the front desk. I, you know, blossomed with this company. I've seen them evolve into all these locations, which is a huge accomplishment, I feel like. Huge. In this industry too. During everything that we went through COVID. Oh, yeah. Times right now are hard for everybody. Yeah. So we went through a lot, you know, with the economy and with the world. And they succeeded. But I really came to a point personally, without really telling anybody, but just kind of like, what am I going to do? You know, yeah. I'm kind of taking away from the treatment room. I was managing for about a year, and I noticed that I wasn't building as much in that year for my clientele because I was so focused on the reviews of the you know, that location, of the inventory of pay. I mean, just so many things were on my mind that I still loved doing the facials, but I was taken away from that. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I really had to just ask myself, like, what is my passion? Like, do I want to be a manager? I can't do all three. You know, right. There was no way that I could build my books and also be a manager and make sure that everything runs. So that's when that conversation kind of looked like, okay, you know, where am I going to go from here? And that's when the fear kind of set in. You know, for the first time in 8 years, where I haven't like done a job interview in 8 years, I've been very just content and happy. And you trust these people. I trust these people. I love these people. I broke bread with them. I mean, we have a family connection with everybody. I mean, it was just a great experience for me. But yeah, it just shifted, and I didn't have a plan when that shift changed. So, and honestly, there wasn't like a big conversation either about it. It was just kind of, okay, you know, we're going to go our separate ways. And one thing how was that conversation though? What, like, it was brief. It was just not, say, hey, I'm going to be honest. It was, I think, a mutual thing. I think, sometimes it gets to that point when you grow so big. And it's also, they are so aware, right? Like there's been times, even with like myself and Jenna and Ryan, there's been times where the conversation doesn't need to happen. We just know, like, we're not, we just are. I'm so glad you said that, Allison, because that is exactly, like, I didn't even know how to say that, but that is exactly how it happened. Yeah. Because you would think, and I even thought, like, we're going to cry. We're going to like have this conversation and cry it out together. You just know, because I don't even know how to like start with this without giving like specific examples, but like, for example, if someone comes to you in your situation, and you're not moving where you want to go, and things aren't happening how you might necessarily want them to, it's obvious that Courtney as an individual has these goals and has these dreams. Right. This is not fulfilling that equals she's probably going to go. Right. And she should, because that's where she'll go to chase her dreams. And like, good for her, because we care about her as a person. Definitely. And that's just how it goes. And I think it's hard. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of women and men like me. I mean, I want to be comfortable and content. Right. Like, I don't want to be complacent and get used to it. I mean, you're always evolving in this industry, but I do. Like, I like to have one thing going for me, and I want to stay there for a long time. I mean, I really thought that I was going to be with this company forever. Yeah, I so relate to that. Yeah. And then, though, I feel like that's a bigger source, God, for me. Yeah. It's like any time in my life where I would have probably not moved myself, but a bigger force moved me. That's how it happens. And I have chills. But like, that is literally when, you know, even if you don't feel it, because I definitely had fear. I mean, I didn't know where I was going to go. I didn't know I was going to go to the Rose Spa and be so happy. And just have something so new. Yes. And like, don't you feel like this has just fulfilled parts of you that you don't even know I would have never been on a podcast. No, literally. If I stayed where I was. Literally. And just, you guys have helped me so much. I mean, tech savvy. Sure. You guys are killing it with social media. Yeah. So I think too, it's just when you meet other people in the industry, they're going to help you and educate you. You're always polishing, always refining. Right. Absolutely. Yeah. I think too, just to top on that too, I feel like I wanted so badly to be in like an esthetician community to where I was so isolated. I only had my one thing. We had so many locations, so there was a lot of estheticians, and we would only communicate like on phone or whatever if you needed anything or if I trained them. But I wanted like a girl group. Yeah. I wanted like a group of estheticians that it's like, they're going to have my back too. You know, we're going to support each other, because there's really no competition. Like, everybody has a role in this industry. I don't look at any esthetician as competition. I look at you as like, you go girl. Right. Like, there's plenty of faces. There's plenty of humans. Yes, definitely. Sure. And I need an esthetician sometimes. So like, I need a girl esthetician to help me. Well, and this also, I mean, obviously we talk about like how great our group is all the time, just because I'm biased and I think that we're all great. But there is something so nice about being here as well, because I've been in a similar position as you before too, where it's like, there's no camaraderie, there's no care or compassion for anyone. Right. It makes such a big difference when you just get to have that group. That's why I'll seriously never go back to corporate, ever, because I just can't now. Yeah. I just can't go back. For sure. I think once you start branching out into what you want to do, it's very hard to go back to that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you decide you're going to find somewhere new.
Yes, the fear.
And I'm sure, and you're like, oh my God, I'm scared.
I didn't know where I was going to go.
You tell your husband,
okay, where am I going to go?
Hi, I'm freaking out. And he's supportive. He's so supportive.
Oh,
he's obsessed with you.
He's like, I can do anything.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I love that for you.
So,
So he says do it, and you say, okay, and you just start randomly applying, or what does that look like?
Oh, I started applying right away. I've never not had a job. So I'm like, okay, now I got to get a job. Okay. I can't not work. So I am on everything I can think of.
Yeah.
You know, it's a little bit hard nowadays too, because you used to go in and you used to, and I still do. I'm still like, I'm going to pop in no matter what. Right. I don't care if you have an online test I got to do.
Right.
You got to see my face and know my personality.
Get the vibes.
I fail those tests anyway. So I'm like, shoot. I'm like, if I can like not take a test online for this job, that would be best.
Right.
Because don't look at that score.
Right.
The timer went off. Right. I had a technical issue there. But yeah, started to apply. Within 2 weeks. So I actually saw the Rose Spa first. And loved it. Didn't apply first for some reason. I didn't even look at you guys. I just was going down the list. And then it kept popping up again and again and again. I'm like, okay, I keep seeing this Rose Spa. Who is this Rose Spa? So then I look you guys up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I love the Rose Spa. Apply. Miss Allison, who I did not know Allison was behind the computer. Literally within 2 minutes, I'm like in my bathroom. My office is on the other side of the house. I get a ding on my phone. I'm like, they already answered. And I go back to my computer, just so excited. So you replied super fast.
Yeah.
I was so happy about it.
Yeah, because I liked your res, girl. I was excited. I said, wait, I want her.
Happy. Right. So, did an interview with you. Loved. I wanted to talk to you for so long after that interview. I was like, is this girl time over already? I'm like, I wanted to talk to her more. I just like had a great conversation with you.
Yeah.
And then you guys reached back out. I met Jenna and Ryan, the best owners ever.
Yeah.
And
we were so excited.
Now I'm under your guys' wing.
Right.
And I'm just so happy to be here. And I've been here for like 3 months now.
Has it only been 3 months?
Yeah. I feel like it's flying by though.
I guess it was.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy. I seriously feel like it's been
I feel like it's
more
only
than
been like, I feel like it's only been a month. I'm like, I feel like
oh my gosh. Yeah. I guess it was like in June.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. So now I'm starting my journey here.
I know. I know. And it's just been so nice to have, a full team and have, when this year started and when I started working for Jenna and Ryan last year, after I moved here, growing a big, ginormous team was never really at the forefront of our mind. We never were really like, oh, we just want to like have all these girls and we want to create this thing, this entity. That was never really our goal. Our goal was just to, we'd only had 3 rooms built out, just fill the rooms and call it a day. And then, there's other plans for you and there's a greater vision that we didn't know at the time. And now, we're 8 months through this year and we have the most full team we could ever have. Yeah. The whole spa's completely built out, which was not on our radar, literally at all. And I just feel so grateful that we have this. And I feel like this is something that I'm so passionate about, is this entity that we've built, because it is so special. And I do love and care about everyone so much on like the deepest level. And I'm obsessed with all of our girls. I'm obsessed with what we're doing. I'm obsessed with our guests, and that passion for taking care of people and taking care of women and men, but like mostly women, is something that I take so seriously. And like, you're a part of that. And we just have the best group.
Yes.
And I love it so much.
Yes. But I have to, you guys, it's all up to the owners, right? To set that foundation, which you guys have. I mean, you guys setting that foundation is only going to make you so successful. Right. And I think it's just so important that when you do grow and you do get so big, to always keep that foundation. Right. Because once that's lost, that's when you kind of lose your people.
Totally.
For sure.
Totally.
But you guys have always set that from the tone, from the minute that I've met you guys. Yeah. And I love that. And I love everybody who gets experienced that, whether you're coming in for an appointment, coming in for an interview. Right. I just love it.
And our team has taken it so seriously. And, with that, our owners, they're the best. And not every place is like that.
No.
Yeah. And I think that that's something that you wouldn't maybe even know unless you were at places previously that were not excellent.
Sure.
But your girl has not had the best experiences at some of my career, my job. So there is something to be said about, once you have people that care about you.
You won't go back.
No, you just can't.
You won't even put up with it. Like, because
you really just won't put up with it. That's an excellent way to say it.
For 8 years, I had a unit. I had a family. Loved everybody from that time. Left on good terms, but I will never, because I had such a good foundation.
Right.
I won't let anybody
totally
ruin my peace at work.
Yeah.
You know, my husband has a stressful job.
Right.
I'm like, I have got the fun job.
Yeah, right.
Y'all aren't going to stress me out.
Right.
I'm sorry. Like,
Totally.
we got to all be friends here.
Totally.
So that's
Totally.
definitely like what I look for. And that's most important. Whatever I do, it's like,
right.
that has to be first. I have to be treated with respect. Everybody needs to be treated with respect, no matter
right.
what level you're on.
Right. And like, we do have the most fun
We have
job.
the most fun. Yeah.
So it's like, we have to like have fun when we're at work.
I never feel like I'm at work.
Me either. I know
doing what I do.
I feel the exact same way.
I literally never, I have said this to like my family, to my husband all the time, but I'm like, I used to dread school, right? And I would, when I was in high school, I would talk to my girlfriends. And I'm like, I'm so scared to get into like the real world. Like, what if I hate it too? Like, what if I hate, you know,
like just life?
And I'm like, thank God I don't
right.
feel that way. Like, thank
right.
God I wake up every day and I'm just so happy to do what I do. I'm so happy to see my clients. You bond with them. If their daughter just got married the last visit, you ask about, how was that? Show me pictures. I mean, it's not just about skin. It's so much deeper.
I was recently just asked like what I do for fun. And the question was positioned like, what do you do for fun? I feel like all you're ever doing is like working and like running errands and doing whatever.
Yeah.
Which, yes, but my response, I was like, I guess it's hard because I just love it so much. I don't even think twice about it. Like, as far as even just like on your phone, looking at new trending reels or other businesses and what machines are bringing on, I feel like I'm always learning and always growing. And I feel like you're the same way. And I'm like, that's a great question. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm like, always trying to sharpen my skill set. I'm always trying to learn something. Yeah. That's what I do for fun, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, for sure.
So where do you see yourself long term? So now that you've had a lot of years under your belt at this point, and you've been able to experience a variety of businesses, treatments, whatever, like that realm, where do you see yourself as a provider, as a person, as a wife in the next 3, 4, 5 years? Like, what does that look like for you?
Honestly, I'm just going to say, I don't know.
Yeah.
I really don't know, girl. Like I thought I would, 5 years ago I had a plan and I thought I knew everything. You always think you know everything and you think you know where your life is going. Right. I hope to be a mom for sure. Yeah. My husband and I are definitely, we are wanting to start our family. Yeah. I know though, no matter where my life takes me, I'm going to be though doing this and this is what I love. So whether that looks like, whatever that looks like, I just know that I'm going to be doing this. And I hope that I just blossom. I hope now that I'm in a new company that I want to build more clientele, of course. That's kind of where my focus is now, is just building back that clientele. Because I'm kind of in that boat again, So that was that fear of like, you leave something that was giving you that structure, but it wasn't fulfilling you anymore. So, and you want to evolve. And I felt like I already had climbed that ladder. And it's like, okay, where am I going to go now? Right. So now I feel like I have what I need and I'm just going to grow in it. And I'm just going to blossom that and just put my energy to it. And just see where the wind takes me. I mean, that's all I can hope for. I really don't know.
That's
and for the first time, I'm kind of like, I don't really want to have like a plan. Like I am just going to, I have everything I need. I can't not have a plan in like my life.
Like a general idea.
Yeah. But like, if you ask me what's 5 years looks like, I just hope I'm happy.
Yeah. I also
honestly.
be happy.
Yeah.
Maybe probably with a baby.
Yeah. I'm happy now, but I just hope I'm still happy. Yeah. With just whatever I'm doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay. Let's do like a bit of fire speed round. Some quick questions because I did this a couple episodes ago and I thought it was so fun.
Working.
Seriously. Okay. If you can only pick one skincare ingredient to use forever, what would it be?
Glycolic acid.
Tell me why.
Because anytime I have a pimple, I will put glycolic acid on it and it goes away. I love glycolic acid, but also, so many. Like I thought of retinol. When you said that, I thought of stem cell. Like stem cells, like number one.
Yes.
Probably glycolic acid.
If you could only use one skincare item, like in your routine, what would it be?
Gua sha.
Oh, we love
gua
it.
Gua sha today.
Yes.
I love gua sha.
What is your favorite, like oil or slip to use when you're doing facial massage?
Honestly, like any oil, to be honest. Yeah, like any good oil. I've been loving the Hydrocool. I don't really use that but you talk about slip. I love the Hydrocool.
It's so good. The slip is so
you
good,
put
actually.
Me on that, but love that.
Yeah. Okay. Foundation or tinted moisturizer?
Foundation, sorry.
Yeah, you're a foundation girl?
Yeah, I like my foundation.
How do you feel like your makeup has evolved from our prime circa 2012, 13, 14 to now?
It's evolved in a good way. I used to literally, I would make my mom sign me out if I had a bad makeup day. That's how crazy I was. If it was sweaty, and my mom would. I mean, she created that. But,
I so relate to that.
Oh my gosh, it was terrible. I would wake up at 6, do the foundation.
Oh my God, I did the same thing. Why did we do that to ourselves?
Estee Lauder, double wear.
Yeah.
My Grammy put me on that one. Yeah. Wearing that, concealer, the press on powder, smoky eye every day.
God, I know.
Smoky eye.
But don't you kind of miss it?
Yeah, I mean, I still do the makeup.
Give me a grungy eye.
Yeah.
You do always do great makeup.
I still do the makeup.
Yeah.
I definitely am more toned down. And I definitely have days where I don't wear makeup.
Yeah.
I mean, now that I have the skin and the makeup, I think skin is definitely number one. I mean, Absolutely. You got to make sure your skin is healthy underneath. I wash my makeup off every single night. I never go to bed with my makeup. I can actually say that because I hate going to bed with makeup. I hate it. I won't even sleep good. I'm
sorry. I don't care how.
Crusties on my eyes.
No.
No.
I can't even, I don't care how tired or drunk or I'm taking my makeup off.
We're doing that at least 2-step routine.
No, at least.
Yeah.
No, honestly, the whole thing. There have been, especially when I was more wild, going out all the time.
Yeah.
There were so many nights where I would be, coming home crazy, and I look at myself in the mirror and I'm like, take it off.
Do it.
Take it off. And I'm like,
now it's the routine. Yeah. Yes. No.
Using my crazy expensive stuff, just
and your skin's glowing right now. Just
oh my gosh, thank you. We got those peel pads from the Is Clinical event.
I haven't used it yet, but
you haven't?
No, but I need to.
Oh, you need to.
Is my pimple covered? I had to do my hair a certain way today. I'm like, of course, the first time I'm on a podcast, but that's okay.
So you mentioned, and this is a side point, but I did want to ask. I forgot about this earlier. You mentioned that you were a tomboy until you started cheer. And then it awoken something in you. Why cheer? What made you want to do that? Because now I would argue that you are a very girly girl.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I used to literally wear etnies and have a skateboard. And I was such a tomboy. And I don't really know why.
Do you have brothers?
I do. But he was a gamer. He wasn't a football.
Sure.
No.
Skateboarder.
Yeah. I was just, I don't know. I had a really girly best friend. And I don't know if it was overwhelming for me, maybe that, I don't know, but I loved, I was super tomboy. And then, so my mom put me in dance and cheerleading, and I was also very shy. So that was more to get out of my shell.
Sure.
And the cheerleading, I kind of stayed a tomboy maybe until 4th, 5th grade, started to get a little out of it. It was really middle school though. Middle school was when, there's boys at school now, and you care about what you look like. Yeah. And there's also the older girls that you want to look cool. And so that is when 7th grade, I vividly remember. And also YouTube. I think YouTube influenced me too.
7th grade was also the year that I decided.
6th grade, I didn't care at all. I was just going through life.
Yeah.
And then, you get a little picked on or whatever about certain things. And you're like, oh, maybe I should,
7th grade, I moved to a new school, and I was like, oh yeah, we care about boys.
Yeah. Yeah, and I wasn't even so boy crazy, because I actually too I struggle with attention. I don't like all this attention.
Sure.
And I think too that must have been why I maybe was a tomboy too, because it was I put on a baggy t-shirt, baggy gym shorts, and it's nobody looked at me.
Oh my God, I cannot even imagine you wearing that.
Oh my gosh, I'll have to bring it up.
Yeah, I want to see a picture.
Yeah. No, I think I've changed a lot.
Yeah, which is good. Yeah. Welcome to the pink side.
No, and now I feel like I'm very chill, my personality. Mm-hmm. I'm not so much girly girl with my personality, but I like wearing dresses now. I wear a dress every day.
For sure.
Yeah.
So fun.
Just 'cause it's comfy.
Yeah. And everyone thinks you really did a lot when it's not a lot.
It's just a dress. Yeah.
That's our secret tip. Now I just told all the boys. Now they know that it's actually us being lazy, because it's so easy.
Yeah. Well, don't tell our secrets.
I know. Sorry.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. And then really quick, touch on how you met your husband, because we didn't touch on that.
Yeah. So
but you met it kind of young.
Not really. I don't know.
Okay,
so I was anti-boys first off. I just have to say that. From in college, I'm not anti-boys. I love,
Yeah, we love boys.
But I just was I didn't want to date. Let me say that. I didn't want to date.
You're working on yourself.
I was just so turned off by dating. I was I actually did not wear makeup in college. That's how ruthless I was at that time. I was going through a little change in my life. And I was if anybody's going to love me, they're just going to love me for who I am. Boys was not on my radar at college. I was trying to survive. I was trying to, so really actually fun fact about me, my first semester of college, I bombed it. I picked the wrong classes for myself. I like got 2 Ds. They put you in academic probation. Yeah. I know a lot of people can relate. It's kind of hard for me to like admit that, but I really though.
It's okay. I didn't even go to college really, so it's fine.
I'm glad a lot of people were surprised I got into college. My dad, the day I was going to college, was like, did you really get into college? I'm like, I did 3.5 GPA. That's good for me.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, let's see. What was I saying?
College. So you had to.
I went on academic probation.
Yes,
that is scary when you are in college and you kind of can't go back home. I could go back home, but I didn't want to go back home. That shifts everything. So that is when I got a tutor for the first time. I studied my butt off. A guidance counselor helped me arrange my classes and pick what I actually needed. Yeah. And then my second semester, I got A's and B's, and I was so proud of myself. But very, very, I was just committed to that. So back to my husband and I. So after college, I met my boss, and I did work, and I started work, and I was still very independent. And I was working so much that I felt like I really didn't have a social life. Like work was my social life. That's all I did.
That's how that season is.
Yeah. And I was happy. I mean, I was fine. But I got to a point where I was like, okay, I'm, mid-20s, however I was, like young 20s. And, I was ready to branch out. I actually had one of my best friends who worked with me. And I was always third wheeling with her and her husband. And I kind of just thought like I would just meet somebody through her. Sure. Which I never did though. Like I never met anybody.
Funny. Yeah.
So she and her husband influenced me and encouraged me to download Hinge.
Oh my God, I don't think I know this story.
Oh my gosh, no, you don't.
Oh my gosh.
Talked about this. And
I did not know this.
They they helped me. They helped me pick out some questions, and her husband was really kind of like guiding me on what to say.
Oh my gosh.
And I cringe at some of the things that I put on there. But literally, I got so lucky. So my husband was like the first one. I actually swiped on him, and he was just like this. He's Pacific Islander. He's from Guam, so shout out to Guam. But
and he's like kind of buff.
Oh, he's very buff.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
he's my teddy bear.
He's kind of like a buff boy.
He's my hunk. But we met on Hinge, and he was literally the only person I talked to.
Stop.
We met 2 weeks after just like talking nonstop, and he was in the military at that time. He was in the Marines, the reserve, so he was busy with that. So, and I was busy at work, so it was nice because he would let me like go about my busy day, and then we would like text paragraphs.
Aww, yeah.
Just super cute. And then when we met, he was just the sweetest thing ever. He'll probably hate me for this, but he was so nervous that he like almost drove into a median. He's like talking to me, and I'm like, wait, there's a median. Like, you're going to drive into it. So that's like a hilarious memory.
Gosh. He was so mesmerized by your beauty.
Yeah, I guess. But we literally were we were not separable after that. I met his sister and his brother-in-law, like the third date. We went to a hockey game together, and he was like, hey, my sister has tickets if you want to go, like no pressure. Didn't even really like think about it that way, but no, we were just together after that. So we got married in 2021. We eloped, and
oh my gosh,
just my best friend. I just love him.
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yes, you guys have been married for a while.
Yeah.
I love that. And he comes in for services. He's come in for services.
Yes.
He's supportive. He
has
loves
no
this
choice.
industry.
Yeah. When I'm home, like my stress reliever is popping pimples. So luckily he was just made for me because he's just got the best pimples. And I'm like, come on, let's go. I have like a bed at home, like an actual facial bed. So I'm like, come on, we're going to do this.
Totally.
And he doesn't, he sometimes complains, but he usually lets me
we love
get
him.
His pimples. And he's just so sweet, and he's helped me blossom in my life as well. Yeah. And it's magical when you meet your special person too.
It is. And it's so important to have that person that pushes you and encourages you, but also supportive, but also guides you.
Right.
Especially as a man, right? Like it's so important to have that guidance sometimes.
And I, like as a woman, like I struggle so much with being stubborn about my independence. And that's something that he's helped me too. Yeah. Like that was so important to me. It's like we're going to be together.
Be tamed.
Yeah.
What are you telling me?
Just let me have my independence, support me, and he does exactly that. I mean, he, I just love him.
He's the best.
The best hubby.
Thank you to Hinge.
Yeah, I know. So many of my friends are like,
episode
Hinge
sponsored
needs
by
to
Hinge.
get you guys on a commercial. No, we literally fell in love from Hinge. So
stop.
Yeah.
I love that. My best friend met her husband on Bumble.
Yeah.
And it works.
Yeah. And it's rare because I have some girls who are dating right now online and it's so hard. No, it's and I think sometimes it's like, God is my thing. I'm like, God wanted me to marry my husband. So totally. That's what happened.
And Kate met her husband on Christian Mingle.
Wow. I love that.
eHarmony. I'm sorry. eHarmony.
eHarmony.
Yeah.
Which I would have totally considered those if I never met my husband. You know? Right? And sometimes I tell girls, I'm like, have you ever tried those? I mean, just try it. I think we live in a time where...
That's just how you meet people sometimes.
Yeah, and that was me too. So my brother, he's 4 years older than me, and I, hate this, but I used to kind of tease him about being online. So he was the first one that got online and was kind of date, and I'd be like, well, how are you going to meet somebody online? Like, how do you even make that connection? Right. And then sure enough, kind
of gone are the days of like the weird catfishing. Like there's more...
awareness. And I didn't even post a photo, like, other than, like, my face up. I just was, like, very... My girlfriend, actually, she was like, I just posted, like, a funny, like, cartoon character, and, like, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm going to do that, because she's actually, like, so funny, and I'm like, you can carry a conversation where I'm not that funny, so...
Oh, please.
I'm like, I can't make the jokes like you. I'm like, I just do, like, a face up,
Yeah, totally. Well, it all worked out.
Yeah,
and now you're in love.
Yeah.
Amazing. Well, do you have any final thoughts or final advice for anyone who kind of is going through somewhere similar to you? Maybe they are in school a little bit. Maybe they don't know if they want to go to school. They're kind of torn. They find maybe the beauty industry is something they're interested in. They're lost. What is your advice to someone who is in a similar position as you? Give us your thoughts and your advice and what do you think they should do?
So I think I have 2 things I can say for that. Number 1, even if you don't exactly know what you want to do, just find something that you love. Find something that you're going to wake up every day not feeling like it's work. And 2, get comfortable being uncomfortable. There's going to be times where it doesn't feel like it's progressing. There's going to be times where it just may not be a good fit for you. It may be the right thing, but maybe not the right place. So definitely watch out for those environments. If it's a toxic environment, don't keep yourself around,
Absolutely.
Do what's right for you.
Absolutely.
Put yourself first.
I was just going to say, put yourself first, because this industry is so overflowing. There's so many options.
Especially now. Like now everybody, now everybody knows what an esthetician is pretty much. I feel like back in the day, there's still some times where I say, like, this is what I do. I'm an esthetician. Sometimes I still be like, well, what's that? But overall, I feel like it's very well known now.
Absolutely.
And it's just evolved so much. So don't be scared about that, though, because there's always a place for anybody.
Right.
And it's always evolving. So you're always going to learn. That's what I think is so special about this industry. Right. Whether it's makeup, cosmetology, hair, you're always growing.
Absolutely.
Always.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much.
Oh my gosh,
for being
we're done
on.
Already?
I know. We'll have to have you on for so many other episodes, and we can have other girl talk. Okay, tell everyone where they can find you.
Yeah.
Plug yourself, plug your social.
For sure. Courtesthetician is my Instagram. I'm so bad I don't have like anything else.
Okay.
I need to get on Facebook. I need to get on all these things. But Courtesthetician, that's where you're going to find me all the time on Instagram. And at the Rose Spa. I'm here at the Rose Spa. You can come and book a facial. We have so many holidays coming up.
Yes.
So you guys need to get in.
Yes.
This is the time. I already decorated my house in pumpkins, so you guys need to start worrying about Halloween. Is right around the corner. Okay?
It is right around the corner. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Allison.
Thank you guys so much for listening, for following along. Make sure that you subscribe. Make sure that you leave Courtney a little love in the comments. Yes. Make sure you follow the podcast at the Petal Talk Podcast, the Rose Spa of Lake Mary. And that's it, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.